Chapter 1, 2004 BC, before cancer. When threatened, the small things in life are the most beautiful things. IVs, needles, I wouldn't recommend what I'd gone through to anyone. But it's been such a cool experience to write about my journey and think of not necessarily all the bad times, but all the good times as well. My name is Claudia. I am currently 19 years old, and this is my life story so far. When I was younger, I had AML leukemia. It stands for acute myeloid leukemia. It's a form of blood cancer. These beads were started sort of middle of my journey, and each of the beads represent a different procedure and a different treatment. I was about three and a half when I got sick.
When Claudia started to show signs of being unwell, she was tired. She was becoming quite pale, and she started to have bruises on her skin. So we took her to the doctors a couple of times, and I said, I don't feel that there's something that's right.
I don't think we were told what stage it was. It's quite hard to remember what I felt or what was going through my mind. Suddenly going from relatively normal life to having to go and live in the hospital for about 9 months. IVs, needles, strangers coming in. It's not your favourite place to go. That sort of started being in Starship in the oncology ward. Chapter 2, Bone marrows, chemo and steroids. From the day I was diagnosed, nothing was ever the same. We came back into hospital the next morning and I went down to theatre.
It was heartbreaking. It really was. I just wanted to take all that pain away from her. As a mother, you just want to keep your children safe, and I know that I was handing her over for a whole lot of treatment, which was a positive thing, but that it wasn't going to be nice for her. I haven't looked at the before photos for a while, so it makes me feel a little bit sad, but most of the photos, she's smiling. We made sure that every moment was happy. There's a lot of laughter in our family, and I think that's what's got us through. It's been a long journey, but yeah, in a lot of ways, it's taught us a lot of things to be grateful for.
Hey, Mom. Could you help me put on my wig, please?
Yes, stunning. It felt numb. I didn't know how to react, and the only thing I knew about cancer or leukemia is you may lose your hair. So the only thing that came out of my mouth was, will she lose her hair? Which seems ridiculous now. Okay, should we take that one off? All right. And then they went on to proceed to explain what that meant. There was a long journey ahead of us. Okay, do you want to give it a brush and fix it up?
I had 3 rounds of chemotherapy, which were unsuccessful in getting rid of the cancer. And as 3.5-year-old, I was not appreciative of all that, and apparently I bit through some of my IV lines. They suggested a bone marrow transplant.
The decision to have the bone marrow transplant was pretty easy because the treatment prior to that, the chemo hadn't really worked. So the chances of her not having a transplant and surviving were basically zero.
Hey, Mom, could you come check, please?
Sure. That looks beautiful.
And about a month or two later, they discovered that the bone marrow transplant was successful in treating and getting rid of the cancer cells, which was obviously quite good. Chapter 3, Permanent Battle Scars. We had all carried on after I was released from hospital. We all settled back into our normal lives. I also started going to school shortly after I turned 5. I think it was just, a relief. Like, oh my gosh, I get to go home and not have to, look at the buildings from the oncology ward. But yeah, no, it was a big adjustment. Wren, look, tug. Yeah, tug. Tug. Wren, tug. Thank you, tug. Thank you. Yay, thank you. Go. Just so excited to get out, it's like, look at the sky, look at the grass, look at all the birds and, all those things that just seem so normal. And being out of that sort of very confined hospital environment, it was just like, wow, freedom. I think it was good because when I started school, I was healthy. It was sort of like, I can sort of play with these people and this happened, but now I can sort of just do whatever. I think it was nice for me to sort of meet people that were also 5 and that I hadn't been with in the hospital and they were sort of just new and we just sort of were like normal kids. Just under a year later, after being released from the hospital, stuff started to deteriorate. I slowly lost the ability to walk and we couldn't figure out why or what was happening. As a family, we'd come here a lot. After I'd been discharged from the oncology ward, we were celebrating that I'd, gotten past all that. I noticed that there was sort of something wet on my head. We left quite abruptly. The skin on my scalp, my head, had just fallen off as I was sitting in the shower. This place was full of good memories before that one event. From that moment, it did start a new chapter, I guess. After a few months, we got the diagnosis of graft versus host disease, which is when the cells from the bone marrow transplant then attack my own host cells, which is what was impacting my joints and slowly decreasing their mobility and the skin damage. We thought that it was over, but that started 7 years of treatment.
Gosh, you're right.
Chapter 4, Fishy Complications. I was in agony and nothing was healing at all. By the time I was 8, the wounds on my head were getting worse. I've been good, how are you?
Yeah, not bad. It's been a wee while since you've been here.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a long time ago now, or?
It does, but not like super long, like it's sort of like it's there, but it's not.
Yeah.
When I was quite unwell, there was a lot of people saying, we're not sure if there's much else we can do to treat these wounds, the skin damage, etc. Nairi then was one of the charge nurses. And she took over my case, and she essentially said, if there's not much we can do, we can at least make this not, as scary and not as frightening, and it's sort of a better time.
Gosh, I was just thinking about when you first started coming down to the operating rooms and you were so scared and you used to cry and you used to, be really upset.
When you came and took over the case, it was less of a, oh my gosh, I'm going for a procedure. It was sort of something that I almost sort of looked forward to, it was just fun. I'm like, oh, I'm seeing Nairi, and,
And how many dress-ups did we used to have, like coming as our favourite fairies and superheroes and animals?
Looking back on it, I really appreciate all the effort during that time to sort of make me feel more comfortable and less like it was just a scary, procedure.
You were a part of our theatre family for such a long time, and I'm glad that we were able to be there for you when you needed care. But what have you been doing since then?
Well, I guess since then, I've been to secondary school, graduated, wrote a book,
Wrote a book? Just throw that in, because I wrote a book. What I've always been extremely proud of you. Oh. But, and just, when you first started coming down, you used to squeak and used to be too scared to talk to us. And now you're so eloquent and confident. And I'm glad that we've had some involvement in the young woman that you've become.
Okay. Wow, there we go.
Oh,
So lovely seeing you again.
Oh, you too.
Oh, I just love you to pieces. Oh. See you later.
Bye. Chapter 5, Leaving the Hospital. Good girl, good girl. I was only going to have surgery once a week. This was every Monday, and I had to go to school right afterwards. Wren's my mobility dog. Let's go. Because she's a mobility dog, she helps me with physical tasks. It's just been really life-changing to have her with me and have her as a companion. She's allowed me to be more independent, I guess, and more sort of confident in going into the community. If I'm feeling a bit anxious or a bit uncertain, she's right there. If I dropped my phone, she could just pick it up for me instead of me sort of having to approach someone that I might not know. Wren! It's just nice to have her there sort of for the security and the support. Come, Wren, come. Shall we just go? Let's go. Yeah.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Hello, Mr. Wren, Mrs. Wren. Hello, hello, hello. Should we go in?
Yes, let's go.
How are you?
I'm good.
You're good?
How are you?
I'll be the dog owl after you.
Being in and out of the hospital, I didn't know a lot of people within sort of the similar age range. When I got released, I was sort of put in with a whole lot of people my age, and I'm like, I don't know how to talk to these people. What's pop culture? I don't know. I'd have people come up to me and be like, sup? And I'm like, I don't. What do you say to that? I don't know.
So how have you been?
I've been good, yeah. I was enrolled at the Northern House School. Through there, I met Jen.
Easier, and I think it was to say that there was never any questions or judgment around what I was going through. We were just kind of all in it together, and that was the best thing. And
so I was in hospital with anorexia nervosa and obsessive compulsive disorder, and so although my illness was more mental illness focused, Claudia and I, we were both struggling. We were both going through a difficult time, and just having someone that understood that was really important.
who knows? You might be set up for life now.
Yeah.
Do you think people actually take their cats to a psychologist?
It's nice now when we hang out, there's nothing kind of talked about in terms of illness because we're both, so much better than we were. One of our favourite things to do is to talk about the old times, because we always remember memories that we'd forgotten previously.
Planning on dancing behind Justin Bieber and his...
I was obsessed with Justin Bieber. I used to love him. Embarrassing.
To see her sort of become who she is now is really inspiring. And she's doing amazing stuff with Voices of Hope and mental health advocacy.
Voices of Hope is an organisation that I started with a friend, Jazz Thornton, in 2017, and Claudia, I've obviously known her for a few years, and we were looking for storytellers, people to write stories for our blog. Claudia had contacted saying she wanted to be part of that, and I'd read some of her pieces before, and I knew a lot about her story and the physical and illness journey she'd been on, but not so much the mental struggles, and that became a really important part of it. I think mental and physical health goes really hand in hand, and she's brought an aspect to Voices of Hope that can often be forgotten, that if you go through things like cancer or physical illness, the mental implications of that are huge. I didn't know that she was such a good writer until I started reading her pieces. She's just consistent and very vulnerable and tells stories that people maybe struggle to tell themselves.
Back then, and like you were my first friend that wasn't 20 plus years than me, and like it just means a lot to have someone like you in my life.
I mean, it goes both ways, and I do hope you know that. I appreciate you so much, and whether you knew it or not, you made my tricky time so much better. I looked forward to coming to school, and even though it was a really, really difficult time in my life, having you really made it easier, and I think it was the same. I think it's people like Claudia that make my journey worth it, because had I not gone through what I went through, Claudia wouldn't be part of my life. I don't know, I'm inspired by you, I'm encouraged by you, I'm motivated, and I really do value our friendship too. You're incredible, you've obviously gone through so much in life, and I know you've had your challenges, but you are amazing and beautiful, and I hope you know that, because it is true. And you make other people's lives a whole lot better, just by being in it, and Wren also helps.
Is it the dinner time? Wren, where's your bowl? Huh? Get your bowl. Go. Get your bowl. Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. Leave it. Good girl. I love animals. I've grown up with animals. We've always had cats, and Wren's our first dog. Wren. Yeah.
Claudia feels quite vulnerable in the house when she was on her own. She didn't want to go out in her wheelchair. If there was a knock at the door, she'd be worried. So now with Wren, she's got a companion. She feels safer. At the moment, this house is a lot better for independence. She's got her chair. We've tried to modify things around the house.
Yeah, might be a bit far away.
She challenges herself a little bit more than she used to. And she's very good at saying, I can't do this. So we get together and think, okay, how are we going to make this work for you? Because her disability really is the environment, not her.
When I started formal schooling, it was quite a big adjustment for me.
Hi! How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't want to be seen as different, but obviously...
Hey, I've got something for you.
Aww.
Here you go.
For a long time, I sort of just tried to keep my head down and, just do the study, do the work. But once I found a friend, it got better. Oh, you're so kind.
Oh, sorry, it's a bit full.
Oh, this is so sweet.
Hope it works.
Oh my gosh.
Surprise!
Oh my gosh, it's so cool.
It's like an umbrella, and you're holding it and shading us. Claudia has just been such a big part of my life. She's been such a good friend to me. I would do anything to repay that, because she's always there for me. And I thought this would suit you so much. I don't know, I just think.
Oh, you're so kind. Oh, thank you so much.
Of course.
I will definitely wear those.
Yes.
It's been so amazing to have a friend like Rachel, and she's, a very important person to me, having that super chill friendship. We'd hang out at lunchtimes, we'd sort of hang out after school.
Okay.
That's good,
I'm
man.
trying to find them.
Movie.
Oh, look. These ones had muffins on them.
Oh, yeah, that's so cute. We've still maintained that contact and we talk daily. It's been really nice, you know, even though we might not be able to see each other as much as we do when we were at school, it's nice to have that constant contact. Do you mind just putting this over my head?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Oop, don't.
There we go.
There we go.
Public schooling was a fully different environment because I was sort of just there standing out.
Okay, you told me when to stop.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I didn't want people to be like, can I help you? I think I just wanted to sort of be.
Okay, surely that's fine. I trust you. If it doesn't work, ask because of you.
I tried to blend in somehow,
2 eggs.
which, you know, is a bit difficult when there were obvious reasons to not blend in.
You want to break them? I'm kind of scared. Good luck.
I had permanent hair loss. I was in and out of school a lot for hospital appointments. I couldn't participate in, you know, PE.
Oh, you got 2 shells in there.
And being the only person at that time in a wheelchair. So, you know, I think I tried to sort of ignore that it was there, which, you know, is obviously a bit of a challenge when it most definitely is there.
The egg's not breaking.
He's like, nah.
No, not today.
Do you want to have a go?
Sure. Looks fun.
Since having friends, I've just felt like I've had a bit more confidence. I'm really grateful for all these people, you know, that have put that effort, that time in to help get me, I guess, to where I am now.
Yeah, that looks good, right? No bumps? See, this is why I like you. You have such a good way of thinking of things. She's so strong and, like, motivating. And then she just passes the same thing, like, on to everyone else she meets, especially me. Muffin pops, like cake pops. She has, like, such a different way of seeing life. And that's why she really, like, changed my perspective to things.
Is this dark chocolate?
Meeting her has definitely really had a positive impact on me. She just keeps, like, thriving and achieving all these great things, so I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, I like it. Chapter 6, Finding My Passion. I'm not sure really what inspired me to start writing. It was just something I did, and I think as I did it more, people were like, oh, you know, this is actually good. Having that little bit of confidence gave me that motivation to say, oh, maybe, you know, this could be something I could do more of. I didn't do formal schooling, and I only learnt to sort of read when I was 11, I think. I'm proud of teaching myself to read, and I guess with that right. Being in and out of the hospital, the treatments and all that, I, you know, have obviously for a while been quite an anxious person. I remember certain times when I'd have hiccups and someone's like, oh, we're going in for a blood test, and, you know, that whole fright thing, the hiccups would go. It has affected me quite a lot. I've been quite anxious as a result of everything that's happened. I do have post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, to do with the medical everything. A lot of it has stayed with me, and I am currently sort of, you know, trying to find ways around that. I've signed up for EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, which apparently is quite known to be beneficial to people with PTSD. piercings and tattoos are sort of a way for me to take back some of that ownership that I might not have had with all the hospital stuff and all the treatments. So this one is a tattoo that I sort of got to honour my cancer journey. So it's got 2004 there because that was when I got my bone marrow transplant. The tattoo is also a reference to the Green Day song, Wake Me Up When September Ends. The transplant actually took place in September of 2004, so it was sort of a nice sort of sentimental meaning to sort of say, you know, after September we'll know if it worked or not. This is a little watercoloured butterfly and he's got a little semicolon body. The whole semicolon symbolism, which is sort of saying that when an author could have ended their story but kept going. It was kind of nice, like, you know, with all the scarring and all the treatments and all that sort of that I had never really had any control over and was never really, you know, something I wanted. This was something that I could say, you know, this is something that happened to me but that I chose to do and that I could sort of look at and be like, you know, it's a bit of art. Chapter 7, What's Next? I have so many dreams for the future, thanks to all the people that made my future possible. When threatened, the small things in life are the most beautiful things. There's so many people, events, opportunities, experiences that have come out of my journey. I'm so happy for all of that. My name is Claudia, and this is my life story so far.